Hello everybody, and the Asia Cup has kicked off, and in today's video I decided after every single one of Iran's matches at this Asia Cup I want to do a review for the match. Their match against Palestine has just concluded, so let's talk about it. I was a little bit nervous going into this match against Palestine, first game of the tournament, a little bit of tournament jitters might come into play for Iran. Palestine have strung up some really good performances recently going into the Asia Cup against Australia, Saudi Arabia, some of the more favorite teams in this tournament. But you know what? Karim Ansarifard absolutely squashed all of those doubts as Iran scored very early on in the game, and I thought that was the most important part. As much as I've slated Amir Ghalenoui for his squad selections and kind of just some of the performances and tactics and all the matches leading up to this tournament, I think him starting Ansarifard, Qaedi were actually some really good choices and picks. I know most people would have wanted Azmoun to start, but he did come in late to the camp, so I felt Ansarifard was the smarter and more experienced choice to pick. Now having scored in 3 Asia Cups, which I think is just an amazing accomplishment for him, and definitely getting that early goal eased the pressure, eased the tension, those jitters that I was talking about for the fans, probably for the players as well. Then minutes later, we score a second goal through Khalilzadeh, who I know, again, I criticize Kanani, Khalilzadeh. I don't really rate them as center backs, and my opinion doesn't necessarily change. I do think once Majid Hosseini came on, I felt he was absolutely class. He's by far Iran's best center back. I would say he should be starting with either or of Kanani or Khalilzadeh. I don't rate either one of them too, but if I were to pick one of them, maybe I'd pip Kanani just a little bit over Khalilzadeh, but he did leave the match with a little bit of an injury as he got subbed off at around like the 44th minute for Hosseini, so we'll see if he actually plays in the next match against Hong Kong. And again, a little bit later into the match, around the 36th minute, Qaedi gets a goal, very good pass from Jahan Bash that sets him up perfectly, a very calm, cool, collective finish from Qaedi, and Iran were pretty much in cruise control at that point. When it comes to the first 36 minutes, I think Ghalenoui set up perfectly for that. I think Ansarifard, Qaedi, perfect choices. I mean, they both scored in the match, but Iran does concede kind of a cheap goal with the last kick of the first half, where that was Palestine's second ever Asia Cup goal, which was a bit of a bummer because I think a clean sheet would have been a little bit better to have in the game, but it wasn't the absolute end of the world. We were up 3-0, so a goal was kind of expected because, as I said, going into this match, Palestine were in pretty good form for the most part. Then going into the second half, Azmoun comes on, Mohebi comes on, we make some changes. I will say, in regards to if I were to criticize Ghalenoui about one thing in this match, his substitutes were a little bit weird when he made them, the players he brought on, the players he didn't introduce at all in this match. I felt it wouldn't have hurt to bring in Khalilzadeh for maybe like a 5 to 10 minute cameo, but that obviously didn't happen. We brought in Azmoun, who Azmoun did get a goal, which I think was very important. I thought it was really important for Taremi, Azmoun, to get goals early on in this tournament in the matches against the weaker teams, because they've both been a little bit out of form, and I think just a goal, and I think we've seen it from them, when they just get one goal, regardless who it's against, it kickstarts their tear of goal scoring for it to be with club or country. So I was happy to see Azmoun gets a bit of a scrappy goal, Taremi gets close to scoring, Jahan Bash gets close to scoring. I will say, Jahan Bash and Taremi, they weren't good, but they weren't necessarily bad. Taremi did ghost a little bit in this match. There probably could have been a 5th or 6th goal, but 4-1, I mean, before the match, I would have most definitely taken it, and we can't forget, Palestine are not the worst nation to go up against. We saw the likes of Uzbekistan, Japan, and somewhat Australia, some of the tournament favorites, struggle a little bit in their matches against their lesser opponents. So all in all, I think Iran's performance was good. It was a great start. I'm not saying it's necessarily a statement win, but it does change my smidge bit of negativity towards Ghalenoui, because I did think he did a pretty decent job in this match. In regards to Palestine, I will say, my goodness, they played very, very dirty in this game. I thought for sure we were going to sustain one bad injury. I mean, this tweet that I put out pretty much summarizes it the best, but luckily for us, I don't think there's any serious injuries. The only one that we should be slightly concerned about is Khalilzadeh, but I don't think it's the absolute end of the world. In regards to the players that impressed me the most, were definitely my man of the matches. I think Sadiq Moharami was really good. As I said, Majid Hosseini, I think as soon as he came on, he was very solid defensively. Salman Ghoduz by far was our man of the match. My guy just absolutely bossed the midfield, was our creative spark. Many people might think Azmoun, Taremi are our best players going into this tournament. Saman Ghoddos, I mean, he's now a consistent starter for a Premier League team, a good Premier League team, and is consistently dropping man of the match performances left, right, and center. So I was not surprised by his absolutely masterclass performance in this game, running the midfield. I think Jahan Mashk had some good moments, dribbling, taking on defenders. His passing in the final third was a little bit questionable, but in the moments that mattered the most, when it came to assisting Ghaedi's goal, he did a great job. Ghaedi and Sari Farhat, I know, were two very questionable call-ups. I know Ghaedi's hitting very good form recently, but he does play in a kind of trash league. And then Sari Farhat hasn't really gotten any minutes since the new Qalanoui era, so it was surprising that he got called up. But both of them, with their experience more so with Ansari Farhat, proved that why they should have been called up. And I think it was a good idea to not start Azmoun, as he's probably a little bit jet lagged, needed that little bit of rest, hasn't really been a part of the camp leading up to the Asia Cup. I think getting him those 45 minutes, I would have personally given him less minutes in this match because goals weren't needed. We didn't really need to score, but at the same time, I think him getting a goal to start off this tournament in the easier matches will lessen the stress of, I need to score a goal in this tournament. I need to start getting my goal scoring tally going. And that's something that might concern me a little bit with Mehdi Taremi, but I wouldn't be surprised in the next match against Hong Kong, he probably will bag a goal. And by the way, don't forget, we will be live doing a watch along for that match against Hong Kong, so make sure to be there. But in regards to my final thoughts, to wrap it all up, I thought Iran did really well to start off the game strong, which I think was the most important part, because the longer it stayed 0-0, it plays more in Palestine's hands, and you know, those first match tournament jitters might start setting in, but the early goal was a great help to just remove any uncertainty in this match. And I want us to do the same thing in the match against Hong Kong. Hong Kong, I mean, at one point in the match against UAE, tied the match, got themselves a goal. They were in that game. So I definitely wouldn't say they're pushovers. We need to still do what we did in this match against Palestine. Start off on the front foot, get that early goal, ease the pressure for ourselves, and just keep the momentum going. Keep scoring goals. I know at surface value, a 4-1 win against Palestine shouldn't be something we should be, you know, raving home about. It shouldn't be something we should be over ecstatic about, but at the same time, I think it's still an important result for us. So for Iran to put out a pretty good statement win like this is a huge step in the right direction for this national team to start off in this tournament. But boys and girls, my opinion only matters so much. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. And will you be tuning in for the watch along against Hong Kong? Because you better. But boys and girls, I hope you'll have a lovely day.